One young man is being questioned by police in connection with a suspected homicide in Loubier. Prime Minister Skerrit repudiates opposition allegations that government provided diplomatic passports to individuals with questionable character. And Public Works Corporation heads into 2017 owing over $1 million in Social Security contributions and redundancy payments. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. First up, one man of Gullet River is in police custody in connection with Wednesday night's suspected homicide in Loubier. Police PRO Pelham John Baptiste has confirmed that 31-year-old Valda Laville, who was from Marigot but lived in Loubier with her partner and children, died after sustaining multiple stab wounds. MP for Roseau South, Joshua Francis, said the families of the alleged perpetrator must be in total disbelief that their own would commit such a heinous act. He asked the general public to be sensitive to the individuals affected directly or indirectly and to pray for the families of the alleged perpetrator and that of the victim and by extension the entire community of Loubier. Meanwhile, Deslin Joseph visited the crime scene at Laho Road where Valda Laville was killed. We warn you that the footage you're about to see may be a bit disturbing for some people.
Behind me is the entrance to the home where Valda Laville was murdered on Wednesday evening. I spoke with some of the neighbors and this is what they had to say.
So I take my phone, I tell the and look for the number for me and I call the police. And then they didn't come right away. So I leave home now, coming now to go towards the house. So I hear the girl now, they had come down, I hear nothing. Then after I heard a screaming start again. So I call back the police, I tell the police, look, it's getting serious, it's getting worse. Look, the baby's in blood. Because the baby came out and the baby had blood. So I tell them they chopped the baby. But the baby got the blood from the mother.
I heard her screaming, help, help, help. He took my little girl, help. And she was calling her boyfriend.
What type of person was she? How would you describe her?
She was a very, very nice person, quiet. When she's in there, nobody would know she's there unless she go to the road by the pipe to go and look after her children's clothes or to carry some water. You know, she was a very quiet person, nice person. When she passed it and everybody, good morning, good afternoon, nice, no problem, nice, quiet, good. The boyfriend as well, nice people. Nice people. I don't know where that criminal come out and for him to kill the person child like that.
How was she with her kids? How young were they?
She gonna love her kids to death. She loved them. She jealous of them. The boy too. The boy jealous of his kids.
And the person who committed the murder, what type of person is he? Is he from your village?
He's not from my village, but he raised up there. You understand? He raised up here. And he left there and went to Carib Reserve to live with his family. He took prison, and after the prison, he come back there on holiday for the Christmas. And while he there now, I was by the road for an hour. He prevented me from going in my yard because he was just talking a lot of nonsense in my head, telling me that he's hearing different voices in his head. And like, so until I tell him it have Kojo Rick there, baby, if the Kojo Rick drink the water, he's a devil that riding him. And he just after that, he went to sweep for my neighbor. And then after a while, I saw him going up with a cigarette in his head. And 2 minutes after that, I hear the commotion over there. So that is when he went to try to rape her. He tried to rape her and she was fighting him. And then he used cutlass on her. Because he touched her already. And the brother warned him. Until the brother even ended up jacking him. And then the brother came home last night, gave him chicken, gave him money. And just after the fellow went to the shop, that is when he attacked the girl.
I heard he had plans to take his girlfriend and his children out the following day. Where were they going?
No, he off today, so he just wanted to bring them on a little lime, bring them to the sea and have a nice day.
Our sympathy goes out to Valda Laville's family and her 2 children. Deslin Joseph reporting for Channel 5 News.
In other news now, Prime Minister Skerrit has denied allegations by opposition leader Lennox Linton that his government issued diplomatic passports to 3 individuals without adequate oversight or due diligence. Mr. Linton told CBS's 60 Minutes on Sunday that Bahamian Rudolph King had been issued a diplomatic passport and appointed ambassador to Bahrain, a charge the Prime Minister says is a lie.
Rudolph King was never appointed ambassador to Bahrain or even ambassador to Baffa State. The government of Dominica has refuted this allegation by Linton on several occasions. over the past 12 years. Yet, he persists in repeating it, this time on international television. I call on Lennox Linton one more time to put up or shut up. To Lennox Linton I say, provide evidence of Rudolph King having been issued a Dominica passport or having been appointed ambassador to Bahrain. If you cannot do this, then do the decent thing and apologize to the people of Dominica.
The Prime Minister says the opposition leader also lied when he claimed that attempts were made to appoint Francesco Corallo to the FAO while he was on an international crime watch list.
In June of 2011, the government of Dominica wrote to the Italian government requesting a no objection to the appointment of Corallo as its representative to the FAO. The Italian government was concerned in about October, November 2011 that Corallo had considerable business interests in Italy and was not comfortable agreeing to him becoming a diplomat to the FAO. That was the right of the Italian government to do, and this put an end to the matter. At this time, Corallo was recognized as a successful businessman and was at this time given in 2011 a clean bill of health by the Ministry of Interior and Foreign Affairs of Italy. It was almost a full year later that reports surfaced of Corallo's name appearing on an international watch list. By this time, the pursuit of his appointment had already ended because of Italy's concerns about his expansive business operations in that country. The Italian authorities never once made reference to any concerns about his integrity, alleged criminal background, or watch list. So it was false and malicious of Lennox Linton to give the impression that at the time of the government's request for Italy's consent to his appointment, Corallo was on an international watch list. That was simply not true. The facts, as made public before, clearly shows that the correspondence to Italy was dispatched in June 2011, and Corallo's name first appeared on an international watch list in late 2012. Incidentally, Corallo has to date not been convicted of any major crime, as suggested by the program on Sunday.
The third person alleged by Mr. Linton to have received a diplomatic passport from Dominica is former Nigerian oil minister and head of OPEC, Alison Madike. The Prime Minister addressed that issue during his news conference on Wednesday. Here's that statement.
Alison Madike was also the recipient of Forbes magazine's Best of Africa Award in Leadership. This is the sterling record which Alison Madike had when I invited her to serve as a voice and face of Dominica in Africa, and a continent that lies untapped to most countries in the region. It was sometime after I spoke to Alison Madike that she was approached by British authorities and detained for questioning in the United Kingdom. She has up to date not been charged with any crime and is not wanted by any country. She currently resides in London, England, a free woman. However, when the news broke of her detention, the government of Dominica voiced its concerns publicly and made clear that its association with Alison Madike was suspended until such time as she was cleared of all suspicion of wrongdoing. As I said earlier, to date, no charges have been brought, but still the government of Dominica has no connection with the former minister, former international figure, based on the concerns as expressed back then by the British authorities. So again, it was downright wrong and misleading of Lennox Linton to suggest, one, that the government of Dominica had approached her, knowing her to be a criminal, and also the government of Dominica had never commented on her detention publicly. Nothing could be further from the truth, as an official statement on the matter was promptly issued. Lennox Linton made these sweeping allegations, and once again, as was the case in the Huffington Post interview of 2015, he never produced a single shred of evidence to support his allegations.
In more news now, the cash-strapped Public Works Corporation is going into 2017 owing over $1 million in Social Security contributions and redundancy payments. Still, the corporation's chairman, Titus Francis, is looking on the bright side as he says they will spare no effort to settle these matters.
In our restructuring effort, we sent home 20 employees in 2015. And as at the end of 2016, we have not yet settled with them in terms of their benefits now. That is a critical issue for us. It is something that we are very, very much bothered about. But we are doing everything within our powers. We are working with government through the Ministry of Public Works and Ports to get this matter resolved. Another issue that also continued to haunt us, if I were to use that word, is the issue of the outstanding non-payment of contributions on behalf of the employees.
The corporation owes $700,000 in contributions to employees' Social Security and $400,000 in redundancy pay for 20 employees.
This has been a matter that has been going on for a number of years, but as a board, we are just as responsible and accountable for settling that matter, and we're hoping too that those two issues are issues that will receive almost front burner attention in 2017, and it is our hope, and we're very, very optimistic that we can have that sorted out before the end of the first half of 2017.
What is stalling the process to settle on these matters?
Availability of funds is as simple as that. There are other outstanding debts that the corporation has, which, like I said, dates back to inception as a corporation. We are working internally, and we believe we're very optimistic, I'd say. We're very optimistic, yeah.
The statutory firm, which has been described as bankrupt, is still undertaking a restructuring program, facing a number of protests and strikes by employees for outstanding salaries. Francis says 2016 was a very challenging period. By the end of 2016, however, Francis says all salaries were paid to employees.
We were very happy that we were able to pay off our employees all the outstanding wages and salaries that was owed to them for the period October to December of 2016. And for us, it was satisfying in that the employees could, and their families could enjoy the Christmas shop freely as they would like to, like all other workers in the country. In our effort at restructuring, as well as identifying and developing new areas of income potential, we believe that there is some light at the end of the tunnel for the corporation.
Dominica's economy is said to have seen positive movement in 2016. The comments from General Manager of the Aid Bank, Julius Corbett, who also attributes some level of Dominica's development to the role the bank plays.
Last year, we went out on what we call the mortgage blast. We spent about $7 million last year in loan mortgages. So within a few months, the other banks were following us. They started to reduce their interest rate, and you saw some economic activity taking place, constructions, because once you see construction taking place in any economy, it says things are happening.
Corbett pointed out that the growing entrepreneurial sector is also a sign of good things, and he also touched on the bank's commitment to its social programs.
And then if you look at if you have to review the country's growth and social program, you notice that a lot of people now are owning their business. We're helping the country to reduce the poverty. So we do that. The social programs are phenomenal. There's no other, I can boast, I can say it without equivocation, that there's no other institution who go out there and make available funds for social economic programs. We do that.
The Aid Bank is into its 46th year of operation. You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, Christmas may be over, but generosity is making a big difference for one person with lupus. We'll explain. Thank you for staying with us. Prime Minister Skerrit says millions of dollars from the Citizenship by Investment program have been critical to government's post-Erica recovery efforts and marketing the island to attract business. Prime Minister Skerrit says Sunday's 60-minute segment on CBS was an unjustified attack on the country's image and a campaign by the opposition to destroy its economic well-being.
We have built a CBI program that is today the envy of many. Now, at the start of 2017, when all indicators suggest we are poised for a takeoff with yet another record year of performance likely, this broadside attack on our CBI program and our country is launched by known enemies of Dominica, aided and abetted by one of its very own.
The construction of a resettlement community in Bellevue-Chopin for Pilit-Savan residents displaced by Tropical Storm Erica is a major project being funded under the CBI program.
The entire resettlement of Pilit-Savan, 381 homes, including infrastructure, including a health center and community facilities and a market and a playing field and a basketball court. This will be financed entirely by the CBI. Entirely by the CBI. The whole reconstruction post-Erica has been financed. We just approved, for example, ratified today in the cabinet, close to $6 million from the CBI that was going to finance the NEP for the next 6 months. So the country depends on the CBI like all of the countries in the OECS and beyond, because in the United States, as you see, it has an EB5 program and attracting tens of thousands of applicants from the world over who invest $500,000 in a project in the United States. Once you can create 10 jobs, you get your permanent residency in the United States.
One young woman living with the lupus disease has benefited from the proceeds of last year's Team Matador show. Lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system becomes hyperactive and attacks normal healthy tissue. 19-year-old Chanel Walsh now has $4,000 to help with her treatment.
Chanel she'll be 20 on the 10th of January. She was diagnosed with lupus on the 8th of October 2015. Chanel spent 37 days in the ICU in Guadeloupe. So all in all, is a real young, rounded lady who had her hopes and dreams of being a gynecologist, but because of her sickness and her illness, she had to just put it a little back. But we're hoping, by God's grace, and we're hoping with the proper care, that she will one day be what she always thought that she would be, a gynecologist.
Founder of the Performing Arts Workshop, which organizes the Team Matador competition, says the institution is happy to contribute to Chanel's cause.
We are happy to see that proceeds from the 2016 Team Matador Creole pageant will go towards assisting 19-year-old Miss Chanel Walsh with meeting some costs associated with a medical treatment for lupus in Guadeloupe. And we'd like to launch a special appeal to everyone out there who are listening and who are watching us to please make a donation to Chanel Walsh. You can go to any of the national banks in Dominica, NBD, and just ask for, tell them that you're willing to make a donation to Chanel Walsh.
Chanel's father, Sean Walsh, received the donation on her behalf.
After my daughter was diagnosed with this illness, I realized that she's going to have it and will be on medication for the rest of her life, unless scientists or doctors can come up with a cure. Let me also thank the lupus group for being around her while she was at the hospital. Laughing with her, playing with her, praying with her did a lot for her recovery.
A representative of Free Diving Dominica is currently here helping to transform the Soufrière Courtside area into a more attractive tourist destination. A free diving school has been established in the community focusing on tourists, children and fishermen.
What we're going to do this following months with the partnership with the Lama and with a partnership with the School of Soufrière and his principal, we are going to do some actions with the kids here to have a class to become protecting the reef, So we'll conduct actions with the kids of the School of Soufriere about environment. There will be free classes to explain them how to take care of the nature and of the marine environment and how to do the good things to keep it the same way it is right now, which is quite wild and with a lot of life in it. And we will take them to the sea and to the shore. And we have a beach hut where we can welcome the kids and train them to different good practices about water sports.
That's news. Kenny Williams is next with your sports highlights.
First up in sports, Caribbean Cool Harlem United was the talk of local football as action resumed in the DFA Division I League on Wednesday. Harlem showed total dominance in their game against the All Saints team with a convincing 5-0 win at Newtown Savannah. Over at the Poirier playing field, Gully Dream Team and Ray Charles Academy had to settle for shared points when the scores were 0-0 at full time. The match between RC Doctors and MV Maxino Bombers, carried for Benjamin's Park, did not take place. Division I action continues on Friday, where Buster Warner will take on Maosoka Strikers at Portersville. Over at Newtown, it will be an epic battle of the Trafalgar Football Club and ACS 711 Portersville Tarish United. These games begin at 6 p.m. Meantime, according to Rule number 19 of the 2010 revised DFA rules and regulations in relation to player transfers, Clause 1 states a player is considered transferred if while he or she is registered with a club during the league, the player applies to play for another club. It adds that after a player has been registered as transferred, a mandatory period of 7 days must pass before the player can take part in his or her first match for the club he or she is now registered for. Any club found in violation of the 7-day rule will lose any points gained as a result of any games played. Meanwhile, a transfer of a player comes into effect after the release of acceptance and acceptance forms have been completed by the appropriate parties and received by the DFA. Once a player has been transferred, they must be registered with their club. Additionally, players who have played 3 games in any division and wish to be transferred can only play for a club in the same division from which they were transferred. On to international cricket, where a 10-wicket haul by Kagiso Rabada helped South Africa take their tally of wins to 2 on the final day of the second test against Sri Lanka on Thursday. South Africa won the match by 282 runs. Resuming on 130 for 4 in the second innings, the Sri Lankan team could only pile on 94 runs and were bowled out for 224 after 62 overs. In Sri Lanka's second innings, the only batsmen of note were Angelo Matthews, 49, and Dinesh Chandamal, 31. Rabada went through the Sri Lankan batting lineup, taking 6 for 55. The final scores from that match: South Africa 329 and 224 for 7 declared, Sri Lanka 110 and 224 all out. South Africa led the series 2-0. Meantime, in the Australia versus Pakistan game, Pakistan trailed by 267 runs with 2 wickets remaining in the first innings on Thursday. Pakistan reached 126 for 2 on Wednesday and added 145 to reach 271 for 8 on Thursday. Yunus Khan scored 136 not out, including 14 sixes, while Azhar Ali supported with 71. In related sports, India's limited overs skipper MS Dhoni has stepped down from his position ahead of his team's ODIs and T20s against England later this month. This according to the Board of Control for Cricket in India. According to the report, the former limited overs captain will still be available for selection as a wicketkeeper batsman for the series against England. Although the BCCI did not name a replacement for Dhoni for the matches against England, ESPN Cricinfo suggests Virat Kohli, who leads India's test side, is the likely successor. Reports say Dhoni was the most successful captain, having led his team to victory in the 2007 World T20, the 2011 World Cup and 2013 Champions Trophy. Next up, head of the local football governing body believes the decision to discontinue the All-Ireland League in 2016 is yielding the desired results. This as the DFA president comments on the ongoing Premier League.
Well, yeah, the DFB Premier League is very competitive. I mean, if we got some flack in the beginning when we do the All-Ireland, but that's the reason, again, we realized we were duplicating players, duplicating the league. You know, it's not about just playing a lot of football, but you need to play competitive football. So, and right now, the Flow Premier League is at a stage where we can say nobody has run away with the championship. Dublin is doing good, Harlem is doing good, Exodus has a chance, from Southeast has a chance, and I think Portsmouth still has a chance. And maybe somebody else can still fall in line. Basically, we don't know what the result is going to be.
The quality of play has improved since the decision in 2016, and the DFA boss hopes this will pave the way for more improvements in the sport.
And I must say the players, we've seen a little improvement in the level of skill. But that is because the teams are winning, but we want them to carry that on to the new season or continue that training, because that is one of our downfall. You see, the players have not seen themselves where without the players there's no DFA or there's no football, matter of fact. So the players, and people might want to say that you compare the past, but that's how it was in the past. People train hard and train a lot, and that's the only way you can benefit. When the players come to the national team, the coach cannot do so much with them. You have to come with a level of fitness or a level of playing football ability, and the coach at the time will, do a little session, scrimmage, and fine-tune the stuff.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
Your weather forecast is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock-Korea. We move on now to some earlier infrared satellite imagery. Today, a high pressure system was a dominant feature affecting weather conditions across the Eastern Caribbean. What we see is this area of multi-layered clouds, and that is associated with an area of high winds in the upper levels, also known as a jet. Let's move on now to some earlier visible satellite imagery, and what we see some low-level clouds which traverse across the Eastern Caribbean. Earlier radar imagery of this afternoon indicated just a few isolated showers over the interior of Dominica. The weather tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to cloudy with a few scattered showers, and tomorrow partly cloudy to cloudy with a few scattered showers. Hazy and breezy conditions are expected with a low chance of isolated thunderstorms in the early hours of the morning. Let's move on now to the marine forecast. Well, sea conditions are expected to be moderate. Waves will pick up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, please do exercise caution. Let's take a look now at the weather for the weekend. Well, pretty much similar conditions are expected for the 3-day period. That is partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers. However, on Friday, hazy and breezy conditions are expected as well. And as I mentioned, a chance of isolated thunderstorms is possible in the early hours of the morning. Well, for the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow, the northern portion of Lesser Antilles can expect some fair conditions, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers expected for the central portion of the Lesser Antilles, and mostly cloudy skies with some showers are expected for the southern portion of the islands. Some snow is expected for the city of Beijing, thunderstorm for Caracas, cloudy skies across New York, and partly cloudy skies expected for the cities of Miami and London tomorrow. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:34 a.m. and will set at 5:50 p.m. Feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. One young man in police custody being questioned in connection with a homicide in Libya on Wednesday. Prime Minister Skerrit repudiates opposition allegations that government provided diplomatic passports to individuals with questionable character. And Public Works Corporation heads into 2017 owing over $1 million in Social Security contributions and redundancy payments. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews5thJan2k17. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. To our viewers around the world, thank you for watching.